Good morning, big wave trading family. On a positive note, that strong end of day close that I've been waiting for following a strong session with the end of day strong close near high day close into the closing bell. I've been either wanting that to occur on either a strong up day, which we did not get yesterday. We did not close near the highs across the board. But in all the other indexes today, we made a nice little ramp into the close, and that's pretty decent follow through. It's what I've been waiting for, so it's nice to see. Hopefully the indexes continued into their new high ground. The Russell 2000 is the only one that's lagging, but obviously the other indexes are under buy signals, and it's good to see the Dow Jones Transportation Average also moving higher along with everything else. So with that being said, it was a pretty impressive session. Had very few profit stops and sell stops triggers. So I, once again, don't have a whole lot of cash on hand to invest in these stocks. So the portfolio allocations per stock that you see on the new positions page or that I recommend here, I am obviously not going to be able to get fully invested. So the final stop I'll be using on all these names are going to be much looser. But remember, if the first stop is violated or the stock doesn't act immediately, my stops get raised. For instance, HEBT was a speculative position I took a long position in this morning. My first initial stop was 288 and 260 with zero price targets. Now I was going to put half the position price target by the close today at 405, granted, but I wasn't going to have any other. But following today's session, my stop at 288, that gets raised to 295. My stop at 260, that gets raised to 279. And also, not only do I have half of my sell limit at 405, I now have the other half only at 335. So if it gets back to 335, I'll just get out of half of it and take the small nearly 10% gains due to the heavy volume reversal today. But that's what I'm talking about. If stock doesn't act correctly immediately, I start raising stops. Now stocks like ENZ and Kala that aren't acting correctly, ENZ, it's fine because the volume bar is lower in the session before, but Kala, it's the other way. So for me, I had a loose stop here and a stop here. Well now, final stop here, half stop here. So I've really tightened it up because it's not moving higher immediately. And that's how I play the new long positions. So with that being said, all the new long positions this evening are either Can Slim, RH is Can Slim, JD is Can Slim, UBFO is Can Slim, the BOBE ad signal is Can Slim. Now UBFO is thin and low price, but it's still Can Slim quality, and it's one of the actual better looking small cap bank stocks that I have that's in a buyable position. And even though it's super thin and low price, I went ahead and put it in the high quality page because if you decide to go long, you know the deal, limited orders only, and be ready for a possible shakeout on these thin names. So if you have stops on the position, remember they could easily be ran in an intraday session and then the stock reverse higher immediately. So just remember that. And then there's ESPR. ESPR was only in the perfect speculator scan, but RH and JD, they were both perfect speculator and Can Slim. So let's start with those. RH has got that bullish hammer candle over candle pattern. JD has basically a bullish hammer nearly engulfing candle over candle pattern. RH's volume is not above average, but the multi-basic support at the gap up lows, basically 3 days in a row, finding support around the 67, 68 area, is a good enough floor to me to take that initial long position. So with RH, since it's a gap up, it's extended from the 20-day moving average. So I want to get long with the limit order at 71.16. My first stop is 67.72. That's a hard one. And my current final stop is going to be all the way down the 50-day moving average. This low gets taken out, you can be 100% sure that this 50-day moving average will never fully come into play. Either all or another half of the stop will be raised to whatever the new low is in between these two areas. But for now, RH 71.16 limit, 67.72 first stop, 50-day moving average final stop. Can Slim perfect speculator quality would normally be a 4% position. It's extended, so 2% only for RH. JD, Can Slim, perfect speculator, same similar situation, above average volume. It is ever so slightly extended from its 20-day moving average. And since a rule is a rule, I'm going to go ahead and obey it here. and respect the rules. So I'll be going along with the limit order at 43.29. My first stop, let's get back out here. It's going to be right here at this low, 40.97. So if it hits 40.96, I'll be out of half. And my emergency final sell stop is 39.33. So if it hits 39.32, I'll be out of the final half. But remember, if this level goes before this level, and if it's on heavier volume or whatever reversal, I'll be moving partial or all stops up. But JD also, like I said, canceling Perfect Speculator would have been 4%, but it's ever so slightly extended from the 20-day moving average. So I want to go ahead and respect the rule here. But it's not like I can put 2% of my account capital in the stock anyway. Like I said, I'm very limited on cash. Very few profit and sell stops are hitting. There's nothing I can do. I'm all in, and we'll see what happens. And my hedges are now reduced so small that on some of my hedges, I'm down to 2 shares in TECS and 2 shares in UVXY because I keep halving them and not getting rid of them all because I'm trying a new thing where I don't sell all the hedges until like the chart completely breaks down. So like SPXU, you can see how it lost its green bop. So obviously I do not have any more of SPXU. But TEX, SQQQ, SOXS still hasn't violated that 24.19 low a day. If it does, I'll be all out of that one. But until those hedges fail, I've got to wait for the other winning positions to hit some trailing stops to raise cash. So I can only do so much. So with those two out of the way, UBFO. UBFO is a canceled quality name, but once again, it's extended from the 20-day moving average, so I got to respect the rules. So instead of being 2% of my account capital, it's only going to be 1%. Limit order at 950. First cut loss, 910 right here. Final cut loss for everybody that I recommend personally is 885, but because this is going to be such a limited, small, tiny position in my portfolios, my final cut loss level will be all the way here, this ultimate low 845. So I'm going to give it some move to possibly chop and whip around before going higher. But I really like this overall technical pattern going back here to the November lows. There's strong accumulation even though it's hard to see, but if you get rid of that, you can just see all the bullish price candles, all the open bodies, all the bullish reversal wicks off the bottom, bullish hammer candle patterns, and then you can see big tall green volume bars and not that many big tall red bars. And the two you do see, you can see open candles here with real bodies that are not shaded, so that's also bullish. And then once again, right here and here, another open body. Right here, heavy volume, but not much price action. So pretty bullish overall chart, 1% of my capital. And then the other new long, ESPR. This one is in my Perfect Speculator scan. It is not canceled quality. In fact, its EPS rating is only 1, but it's a Perfect Speculator quality stock. So how can it be worth $50? Well, easily. These kind of stocks that are in my Perfect Speculator scans that are very high priced, the same thing happens to them all. They all eventually get bought out, like for much higher than what they're trading at. So maybe, hopefully, maybe this will happen to ESPR while we're long. Anyway, the long signal with the ESPR, it's quite clear. Bullish candle over candle, almost engulfing basically. The only issue is it's slightly extended from its 20-day moving average. So once again, a limited position. 1% of my account capital. Getting long limit order 51.43. First stop 47.90. Then you can also use right here 46 as your final stop. So half stop here, final stop here. But for me, like I said, limited position, small position on top of that. So my first stop will be here, 47.90, and my final stop will be back here, 43.06. So, but once again, same similar thing though. This low goes or this low goes, I'll be moving up all or half of my stop to the new low a day. And then there's BOBE. BOBE is also can slim and Perfect Speculator quality. It's an add signal. It's not extended from its 20-day moving average, the only one, so I want to get long with the limit order at 68.44. First cut loss level on this one, 65.62. And then for me, I'm going to use 62.16. That's not the right low. They doesn't adjust for dividends because Telechart Warden, it's like the only dumb thing this program does. Everything else is brilliant. These guys it's a great charting program, but they don't adjust for dividends, and I think that's insane. StockCharts.com does, so use that if you need to use something. Interactive Brokers also does. So does E-Trade. But anyway, first cut loss level, that's important, 165.62. You could use the gap fill as your final sell stop, or you could use 62.16. It's completely up to you. But this one, cancel per speculator, 4%, add signal, cut in half, 2%. Those are the new long positions. RH, oh my God, I pressed the wrong button. RH, JD, UBFO, ESPR, BOBE.